Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. I'm working on a double page spread today. This is for a challenge over at csichallenge.blogspot.com. It's challenge 235. And I decided to go ahead and do a double page spread because I had quite a few pictures, and because I print my photos in 4x6, I felt like the photos were a little bit too big to squish on the page, even though the sketch that we are using for this month calls for multiple photos. I started out with doing a little mixed media on some white cardstock for my background, and unfortunately I cannot find where the video ended up for that, so you didn't get to see that part of the process. But basically, I used the packaging technique with a little bit of Heidi Swapp's Color Shine in teal, patina, and mint. I also used one of her polka dotted stencils, and I used some gelatos in coordinating colors just to give it a little bit of a polka dotted background, which is one of the pieces of evidence on the case file for this month. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, you should head over to csichallenge.blogspot.com and take a look at our challenges. They start out with a scheme, which is 5 colors that you need to use, and then there's a list of evidence, and you need to use at least 3 of those items, and then there are some options for journaling, and you need to choose one of those items. So in this particular case, I did choose to do some mixed media and polka dots. The washi tape that you see there on the top is polka dotted as well, so I've got polka dots in multiple places so far. The colors for the challenge were turquoise, light chartreuse, white, light gray, and something in between periwinkle and lavender. I'm going to back all my photos here with tissue paper, but I have shown you there that I've looked at the date that's printed on the back of my photo, and that is actually the date the photo was taken, and I do like that Shutterfly puts that on the back of the photo when you upload directly to their site, not using their app. And I went ahead and wrote that on the back of my page so that I would remember, because oftentimes I forget by the time I get to the end, and then I've got to go through my computer and look it up, or I've got to pull my photos off the page and figure out when the photo was taken, which did give me 2 of the 3 pieces of evidence that I wanted to use. Now, most of my photos are older photos from when my children were young, and they are both adults now, so I've got a lot of scrapbooking to do for quite a long while before I get caught up, if there is such a thing as caught up. I placed the washi tape there on each of the areas to create a shelf for all of my photos to rest upon. This helps to ground them so that they don't look like they're floating in mid-air. I've also trimmed down my 2 white sheets of paper by a 1/2 inch on 2 sides so that when I mount them on another sheet of paper, it creates a border of a 1/4 inch all the way around each of the sheets. Now, these photos are taken in the Santa Barbara area. We were visiting my cousin and his family and his little girl, and they were house sitting for some friends, and we were able to swim in their pool, and I think the pool must have been about 90 degrees. It was beautiful and warm and tons of fun. I've laid down some tissue paper behind all of my photos to kind of soften the transition between the photo and the paper, and you'll see there that I'm using 2 different colors of paper for the top and the bottom of those photos on the upper right hand corner of the left hand page. And the reason I did that is those are from an 8x8 paper pad, and by the time I got the other photos matted, I didn't have enough to do a complete square all the way around as in one piece. So I just cut them apart, and I adhered them to the back of my photos in an opposite pattern, so one has the green on the bottom and one has the green at the top. Now, that Happy Place piece of acetate came from Pink Fresh Studio in their Life Noted collection. And that was another item that was listed in the evidence, something transparent. So that is my transparent piece. And then another item was umbrellas. So you're seeing me gesso up my umbrella right there so that I can spray it with some turquoise Dylusions paint. And I'm using some paper from the Pink Paisley Oh My Heart collection. It's got a perfect, almost periwinkle-y kind of color in the collection. So half of those squares are half that periwinkle color and half the turquoise color. So I thought it'd be perfect to back the umbrella in. And I didn't want to leave the gap opening because that's going to be over the photo and over those layers a little bit. So I thought it would look better if it had its own background. You can see that I've laid down a die cut of flowers in that almost periwinkle color. That is from the Pink Paisley Oh My Heart collection as well. And here I'm getting ready to spray my umbrella in the turquoise Dylusions paint. While you watch me spray that umbrella, I'm going to read off the list of items from the evidence in this case file. The first thing was the solid white cardstock, then polka dots, flowers, puffy stickers, bling, umbrellas, wet medium, people icons or images, something plastic or rubber, something transparent, eyeglasses, summer pool tropical elements, and something shaped like floaties, which would be like a donut or reinforcements. As far as the testimony goes for our case file, we had 5 different options. The first one was the topic of celebrating girlfriends. The second would be a prompt idea from the website Girlfriends Are Like Shoes. The third is presenting it in a circular journaling spot. The fourth is writing your story as a conversation. And the fifth is using inspiration words such as laughter, together, and secrets. And that would be in your journaling, not just as your title. So I chose to do the prompt idea from Girlfriends Are Like Shoes, and the prompt was prompt number 7, and it began, I love it when. So my journaling reads, I love it when we visit John's family in Goleta. We go to the beach, eat plenty of Mexican food, and hang out with the family. On this trip, we got to swim at a friend's, and the pool was 90 plus degrees. It was fabulous fun for all. And then on my second page, I just listed out who was there so that generations down the line won't have to guess. Now I'm pulling out a lot of pieces from my stash that fit the evidence, and these little clear acetate sunglasses are from Jelly Bean Soup. I always struggle to find a way to use the clear things. I think they're not going to show up. They really do add to the layout at the end, but I'm always afraid they're just not going to show up, so why bother? Especially the ones that have no color on them at all. And I do have a whole selection from that Jelly Bean Soup package that I really need to work on using in a better way. So if you have suggestions, I would love to hear them. If you could leave me a comment down below, that would be awesome. I'm pulling out all kinds of stuff in the turquoise, that chartreusey green color, and periwinkle, and then the light gray. And these pieces are coming from all over the place. We've got some stuff from Fancy Pants and Pink Paisley and Chamel's Little by Little collection, more Pink Fresh Studio and Freckled Fawn, and then some Elle Studio and Click Kit labels. You're going to find that this double page layout has a lot of little details and all kinds of layers on it. So if there's something in particular that you'd like to know where it came from, you can also leave me a comment down below, and I'll try and get back to you and let you know where exactly it came from. At the end of the day, I think both of these layouts could be standalones. However, they are the same topic, same trip, same people. So I wanted them to go side by side in the album and have some sort of continuity. So I'm going to go ahead and call it a double page spread. I'm going to spend quite a bit of time moving things around on my page and trying to get the layers just right. I want a good equal balance of each of the colors in each of the groupings. And these clusters, I like them all layered up, but I don't want them to look like they're stacked. I want them to kind of have a haphazard but purposeful look. By the time I get the layout done, there's not a lot of the washi showing on that upper grouping on the left-hand page, and I find that happens to me a lot. I tend to make my groupings larger than I think I'm going to make them, and I end up covering up quite a bit. But there is a tiny bit that shows on each of the ends, and so it's okay with me. I don't mind. I've got plenty of washi to spare, so it's all going to work out in the end. As I'm moving things around, I am finding it difficult placing that circular smile die cut in just the right place, and I have everything on the right hand page kind of just where I want it, but in the end, in order to make that smile die cut work for me, I'm going to have to move things around on my right hand page and trade it out with the green bordered label that is on the right page. I'm not sure what it was about the circular smile. I know that when it was right in front of the happy place, it was too matchy match, but when it was up above, it just didn't feel right. It felt like it was the wrong shape for the space. And I think that area also needed a little more green than just that little label tag. So here I go. I'm putting the bigger tag over there, and I'm going to go ahead and move things around, trade it out for the smile die cut, and that's where things are going to end up. You might have noticed that yellow wooden sun piece that was in the upper left hand corner, and I've taken it off screen and gessoed it up and then sprayed it with some Heidi Swapp Color Shine in Amethyst, and then I've patted that dry so that it would lighten the color up just a tad so it will match the periwinkle color. And then once that's dry, it's going to go back on the page in that same spot, the upper left hand corner. You'll see that in the shots at the end. As I'm adhering things down, I decide I'm going to go ahead and try using my adhesive to hold the clear acetate words down, but I know better. After trying it anyway, I'm not happy with it, so I went ahead and pulled those words off and removed the adhesive from the back, and I ended up using some purple washi tape from the Pink Paisley Oh My Heart collection. I only had about 3 to 4 inches of it, so I had to use it sparingly because I needed it to hold all 4 of those clear acetate words on. Normally I would use my tiny attacher, but because of the placement of the words and being so far into the center of the page, there was no way that was going to work. So I'm hopeful that the washi tape will hold it on, and I think I will add a little bit of liquid adhesive to those acetate words, but only behind the washi tape so that it won't show. You're going to see me using my tweezers quite a bit. I find that they're very helpful when I'm trying to place small bits. I can kind of see the layout better if I hold the item with the tweezers. I can place things just so in the perfect spot, and my hands aren't in the way, so I can see if it's actually going to balance on the layout. I find that it's really hard to find a lot of scrapbooking stuff in periwinkle or colors close to periwinkle, so this purplish bluish color, which is kind of close to the periwinkle, is going to have to fit the bill for this layout. And those little squares that you see on the right hand page, and then there's one in the lower left hand corner of the left hand page, those are just squares cut from that same paper that I backed the umbrella with, and that's that Pink Paisley Oh My Heart. And then I've also pulled some of the little word phrases from Chamel's Little by Little sticker sheets and used those to tie it all together. Now this acetate tag that I'm working on right now, I cut it in half because I wanted it to span more of the distance. In the bottom right hand corner, it has a little sailboat on it, which I really liked, and for some reason I had it in my head that I really wanted that to show. In the end, it shows a little bit, but it really doesn't make much difference. But that is the main reason that I split it apart. I am actually glad that I ended up doing that, because it kind of tied the bottom of the tag to the top of the tag and not hiding it completely. Now you can see that I've placed a rubber charm next to the title Happy Place, and that reads I love right now. And then there's also a circular one in the bottom cluster, and it's just got a little heart on it. I don't know if you guys have a hard time using rubber elements. I do, and I don't have a whole lot of them because of that fact. And I've heard recently that people were having trouble with them over time. I don't know if that's something you've experienced. I'm hoping I don't experience the same thing. If you have other suggestions on ways to use rubber charms, I would love to hear more about it. You can leave me a comment down below and give me some suggestions. That's one thing I really struggle with besides using acetate. The little acetate tab at the top of that bottom photo reads so cute, and that little baby girl is so cute. She is my cousin's youngest daughter. Her sister is 9 years older than her, and that the older sister is the one that's really close to my daughter. Now I've cut this arrow apart on the right hand side to span underneath the little people icons. I really like the arrow, and it's a really good way to get more use out of your embellishments, is just to cut them apart and tuck them underneath on either end. You can do that with your layering papers as well, and it will give the appearance of them being larger than they really are. And these little tiny pieces that I'm placing right now are from Heidi Swapp. The one that is to the left of the first cluster just has X's and O's on it. I typically like to finish off my layouts with the smallest pieces of embellishments, and in this case I found some little tiny word stickers. Actually, they're on chipboard, and they're from Recollections, which is just the Michaels brand, and so I will be adding those to each of the clusters. The first section says Genuine Love, and that's right above where it says Happy Place. And then the second section says Hangin' Together, and that's right above the You Are My Number One gray sticker. And then in the third section it will say Wonderful Memories. The last few things that I'm going to do to this layout would be to add some puffy stickers in the shape of different types of ice creams, and those are from Recollections. I'll also add some green and white baker's twine to the top of each of the tags, and I'll add the purple wood piece in the shape of a sun back to the top tag. I'll also mount both of these pages onto some chartreuse background paper, and that will help the pages not to curl up so much. They are curling because the paper is gessoed because of the mixed media on the background. If you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up down below. And if you're not already a subscriber, I'd love for you to hit subscribe as well. I'll see you next time. Thanks.